This story is about two men who never met, but should have. Christopher Reeve was one of my favorite actors. He created the movie role of Superman. Years later, Superman suffered the worst accidental injury in the medical lexicon, spinal cord injury, leading to paralysis. And those of us who admired him suffered along with him. In 2004, when the tragedy of embryonic misinformation kicked off in earnest, Mr. Reeve and Michael J. Fox, who was suffering from Parkinson's, were the poster children for embryonic stem cells. Okay, so they were wrong, but they were entitled to their own opinion, right? Wrong. The result of Mr. Reeve's and Mr. Fox's passionate error is adding to the torture of all such patients in America, in Europe, and the world. How is that possible, you ask? Just one sentence. In order for the embryonics to survive, they were forced to create and continuously spin two myths. The worst one was myth number one. Adult stem cells cannot do much of anything. They're not pluripotent. You can't make them in large enough numbers. The same adult stem cells that are working somewhere in the world on both diabetes type 1 and diabetes type 2, working on emphysema, working on stroke victims, working on autism, for goodness sake, autism. So all that, according to the embryonic myth, is an illusion. Nothing works. More importantly, both Christopher Reeve's spinal cord injury and Michael Fox's Parkinson's have already been successfully treated by two world-class ASC researchers, one of whom might be here today. There are dozens of patients now improved who can testify to the validity of their own stem cell treatments. But Americans and Europeans suffering from these two conditions will continue to die unnecessarily as long as the embryonic myth keeps these adult stem cell victories hidden. Myth number two, embryonic stem cells can cure much more than adult stem cells can. The truth is that embryonic stem cells cannot treat anything and never will in your lifetime. In 2004, two paraplegics testified to the American Congress about the improved quality of life they gained by going to Portugal to visit Dr. Carlos Lima's tiny clinic to be treated with adult stem cells. This information seemed not to reach Mr. Reeve, or perhaps he chose to ignore it. In any event, had he gone to Dr. Lima, Mr. Reeve might have improved his health enough to survive his condition and take a full series of rehabilitation and been alive today, and who knows, walking a few steps with a walker. But Mr. Reeve gave, and Mr. Fox is giving his life in service of the embryonic myth, which has never been about cures, but only about votes and money. And by necessity, needs to keep in the closet what Dr. Lima and hundreds of other doctors are doing with adult stem cells. After all, if America and Europe were told the truth instead of countless myths, who would be left screaming their lungs out for George Bush's head every time they roll another wheelchair on the stage? Is there an easier target to pick on than our unpopular lame duck president? Screaming for something that may never work, even if it ever does, not in their lifetime, and even if it does, it is not now needed and never will be. For the embryonic myth will never be able to catch up to where adult stem cells are now, in 2008, and no one in the land of the free or in Her Majesty's United Kingdom is allowed to know that.